Well,
good.
Michael, thanks for coming on. So
Absolutely.
you're with the Museum of Broken Arrow, and besides going there one time, I don't know a whole lot. So I'm here to learn today.
Wonderful. That's why I'm here. Try to get the information out and let people know that we're there, and hopefully have some visitors.
Well, let's just start. Maybe let's start talking about the museum, and we'll kind of bounce around a little bit. We'll probably get into some history of the city of Broken Arrow, as you would probably be the guy to talk to. But what is the Museum of Broken Arrow, and why should people go there? What can they expect?
Sure. We actually just finished celebrating our 50th anniversary last year in 2025, the Historical Society. And so it's moved around a little bit. The museum we're at right now opened in 2009, thanks to the city of Broken Arrow with the old bond issue. And we basically were open 5 days a week, and we celebrate the 123 years of Broken Arrow, Indian Territory at that time. And we have a permanent museum on the second floor. We have a first floor that has a rotating gallery and a gift shop, and then we have a third floor that we rent out to community members and businesses.
So what sort of exhibits is it? Is it primarily the history of the city of Broken Arrow in the museum, or is it surrounding areas, or?
It's primarily Broken Arrow. That's our main mission. And so we start with the Muskogee Nation tribe, obviously with the Trail Tears that came here, and this land was allotted to them. And so we start with them, and we have a great partnership with the Muskogee Nation, and they helped us out when we created that in 2009. But then you kind of do a walk through time, and so you kind of walk down Old Main Street. And as we all know, Main Street is evolved, and now it's a glorious and beautiful Rose District. But you see some of the old businesses, some of the old signs, some of the tools, the first banks that were there, doctors, dentists. But then we have other areas that we celebrate, the Rooster Days. We have the fire department. We have one of the original police jails, actually, that are in there. But we also have Childers Cabin, which is the original Childers family cabin, the actual cabin itself that was disassembled and recreated in the middle of the museum. And so we talk about basically how it's grown over the past 100 years. We have a veteran section, but then we also talk about manufacturing. We used to be huge in cotton. We had a cotton festival, Cotton Jubilee, that we used to have. And so we talk about that. We used to have a huge coal mine. It was actually called Broken Arrow Coal. It was advertised because it came here and it was so great. So we talk about the coal industry, even though neither one of them are still here, so people don't realize the different products that came out of Broken Arrow. So, but we still talk about some of the businesses that happen today too. So we update the exhibits as much as we can. There's so many stories, obviously over 100 years worth of stories that we don't have enough space. And so we have to rotate a little bit and try to get all the stories out that we can.
Cool. Well, I always like to ask when I'm talking about something like this is, you have all the stories you could probably tell. We could probably talk for days about all of this stuff. But what's a story that maybe you could tell us that kind of sticks out to you? Maybe it's a funny story. Maybe it's just a cool historical story. I don't know.
There's always, when you work at museums, I've worked in museums for 2 decades now. And every museum has its own mission, it has its own focus, and it has artifacts and things that are very unique to it. And I would say probably one of my favorite object that we have is a horse, and it's Charlie. Charlie the horse. It's a mannequin horse. Kids absolutely love it. He's on display. He was in Keys Hardware. And he was actually used as a mannequin. It's not a taxidermy; it's a mannequin. And but they did saddlery and they did leather work, and so he was used to actually get measurements for those who wanted to get a saddle or a belt or bridle and everything like that. And he lived at Keys Hardware for decades, and then after that closed down, he moved to AV Bank. And then when we opened up the museum in 2009, we actually got him. He was donated to the museum, and we built the exhibit around him. And so it's just very unique. Most people wouldn't think of it, but we call him Main Street Mascot because he's been on Main Street for almost 100 years. And he's still with us. He still tells the stories of the families and the businesses that have been here. And he's just one of my favorite objects and story to tell.
That's cool. And that's on the second floor?
It's on the second floor, yeah.
Cool.
He's also on the mural. So, he's there. So keep an eye out for Charlie.
Yeah. So I should ask, because I see those statues too on the Main Street in the Rose District. Tell me a little bit about those guys.
The mouse?
The handshake. The two guys on the horse with the handshake.
Yeah, that's next to AV Bank, and so that kind of represents...
Oh, that's the bank. Okay,
that's the bank.
Gotcha.
But it represents basically, how things were done back in the day. When two businesses or even farmers or merchants or whatever it was, it was a handshake deal. It wasn't a contract or anything like that. And it's a great statue to represent. I mean, obviously they're on their horses, and so it kind of gives you that Indian Territory type of vibe. But it's also, I think, what represents even Broken Arrow today. Even I've been here for over a year now, and some of the agreements or partnerships that I've done here in Broken Arrow is done with a handshake. It's still that way today, and I think Broken Arrow is that amazing community that we still fourth largest city in Oklahoma, but it's still that hometown feel. And we all kind of know each other and getting to know each other and welcome. It could be a handshake deal, it could be over a cup of coffee, but it's still just kind of that communication and that one-on-one that makes Broken Arrow great, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and just recently, I mean, I haven't been quite a year, moved here in June, but just that was one of the things that really stood out to me was just. It's a big small town, I guess.
Exactly.
Where like moving from Minneapolis area, a much larger city. Pace of life feels so fast. Not that we don't have a booming business community here and they're getting deals done, but just the personal nature of it. People can offer to help if you need help, but you truly feel like it's meant from the heart. And just being able to even start this and have some conversations with business owners, hearing like their mission is much deeper than what their service is that they're providing, and I think it's not just unique to here, but it's definitely more here than I think some other areas, which has been really cool for me to experience firsthand.
Yeah, I think the businesses that we work with, it's very personal. They're just not selling a cog. They put pride into it. They put their energy and emotions into it, and when you show that interest and you want to support them, they want to support you, and. Yeah, I mean, we're still got to pay the bills, got to get the thing out, got to advertise. And, we have all these things around us that we have to do like any other city in America. But there's still that human touch that it comes to working with the business owners and the people that we partner with at the museum that just warm fuzzy, I guess is a lack of a better phrase. You feel good about working with the people in Broken Arrow. And I worked quite a bit in Tulsa, for many years before coming to Broken Arrow. And that whole concept of, Broken Arrow is just a suburb of Tulsa. And then I moved here and worked with people and created these relationships. And no, Broken Arrow is amazingly unique and personable and has that human connection that I haven't seen anywhere else that I've worked here in Oklahoma. And so, yeah, it is different. And it's really great that they've got that emotion and that energy behind it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of all that, I mean, so the Broken Arrow Museum, is that is it funded by the city, or how is the museum itself funded and keep the doors open for 50 years?
Great question. We are a 501c3. We're a nonprofit. We have a partnership with the city. So the city owns the building that was built with an old bond issue, which that's coming up again. And so we have a partnership. And so basically we're rent-free, but we have to cover everything that's inside of it. So all the exhibits, all the programming, all the salaries, insurance, everything like that, the nonprofit takes care of that. And so we have a lot of fundraisers throughout the years. Obviously, we have an admission to get to the second floor. First floor is always free, though, but we do fundraisers. We do a Pioneer Dinner during Rooster Days, which is a big class reunion. A bunch of alumni come in, and so we serve fried chicken, do a pie auction, and have a great time. And then we have a gala in the fall. And so we have these little fundraisers that we do. And we do small fundraisers also. We partner with local restaurants, give back days like that. We did Murder Mysteries. We have a new one coming up this summer, the spring, actually. So we just do little fundraisers like that. But also one of the things that we do that helps us with our income is our gift shops and our art shows that are on the first floor. Again, partnering with local businesses and supporting them. We have right now, I think, 15 different businesses represented in our gift shop, which is on a consignment basis. And so it's a win-win situation. We sell their wares. We get a cut, they get a cut, they get more of the cut because they put all the work into it. And also our art show, our temporary gallery, we have 9 art shows coming up in 2026, and that's going to represent like 50 artists, Broken Arrow artists and local ones. And to me, an artist is the same as an entrepreneur. You're creating a ware. It's not a creative thing and not a cog or anything, but to me, they're out there putting their work out there and trying to sell it, and so we promote them in that sense. And so that's there's many streams of income when it comes to working for a nonprofit, but working with the local people are always the fun one, obviously, and having a good time.
Well, how can the community, whether that's business owners, whether that is just regular Broken Arrow citizens, like what's the best way that they can support the museum? You said before that maybe people don't even realize it's there.
It is. It's funny working in museums. The hardest audience to get into the museum are the people that live in that town. Everywhere I go, it's absolutely that way. So honestly, the biggest support is come on in. Just come on in and see what we have to offer. See the gift shop. See the different people and items that we have on display. We focus on Oklahoma and Broken Arrow items, obviously. Every month, the rotating gallery changes. Come on in. See the new artwork. See the new... right now, we have a history photograph exhibit that's up right now that shows takes some of our historical photographs, and we took photographs from that exact same spot last year. And so it's called Then and Now. Just come in. Come in the door. Say hi, see what we're about. Most people know the mural, our gorgeous mural that's on the side of the building, but they haven't stepped inside the building yet. So honestly, the biggest support you could do for us is just come on in.
Come on in.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because, I went to the museum and that was as a tourist for the first time I was here. You're kind of looking for what to do. You're like, oh, a museum, like
Right.
awesome. But then, I even think about it too, where it's like, there was an area in Minnesota where I grew up and lived for the longest time. And besides going with school, we had a historical society. And embarrassingly, now I probably would step in there.
Right.
But we didn't really step in the door.
Right.
And I was the local who's just down the street from me.
Exactly. Normally, the locals come in when they have somebody out of town.
Yes.
And they need something to do. And then they're like, oh, yeah, we need something to do. Let's go to the museum. I'm like, I've never been in here before. And we get that so often. And actually, we get excited when we hear that. When somebody who's lived here many years or even just a year said, I've never been in here before, I had no idea. But now they're inside and they're seeing what we do. Oh, that's just amazing.
So what do you guys have coming up? Any events or anything, that's kind of turning over or changing at the museum right now?
Yeah, like right now we have our Then and Now photo exhibit, which we brought back from last year because it was so popular. And that really focuses on those historical photographs, mostly on Main Street, so a lot of the old businesses, with photographs of the new businesses that are in that spot. And so that was a great project. That's going to be up through January. February, we have a partnership with the Broken Arrow Seniors Activity Center, which is on South Main Street. They have so many art classes. And so once a year we bring them up and they show their artwork. Some of it's for sale, some of it's just show and tell, which is always a lot of fun because you never know what's going to come out of there. And then after that, we've got a couple group shows coming up. And so we do a lot of artwork. Probably one of the biggest, but we always try to do at least one historical show because we're a historical society. And so not only do we have the one that's up now, but in August and September, we have a show called From BA to NYC. And so that's talking about the 25th anniversary of 9/11 and how Broken Arrow and the people of Broken Arrow actually made a huge impact in helping New York City heal from what happened there. And so we're really gearing up for that. That's going to take, that it opens in August, but we're already working on that. We already started working on that last year because it's going to be a big, very emotional exhibit, and we can't wait to share that with Broken Arrow.
So how many people does it take to put an exhibit like that together?
Like the photograph one, luckily I have an amazing wife who's a photographer, so I basically used her skills, and so it was just a two-person team last year for that one. But the one coming up in August, it's still a small team. I'm working with Pastor Scott Keel. He's the one who did the travels back and forth in his archives and his collection that he donated to the museum. Luckily, when you work at a museum, you have to wear a lot of hats, we say. Especially the smaller the museum, the more hats. And so I'm the executive director, but I'm also the curator. I'm also the graphic designer. I'm also the marketing person. So it could take more people, but really it's just 2 or 3 people to make sure the labels are written well, and we communicate the story well enough, the graphics are done properly, and then getting those printed up on the wall. So it ranges based on the exhibit and how many people are available.
So what are your typical operating hours for the museum? Are you guys open today on a Friday?
We are open 5 days a week, so Tuesday through Saturday. We take Sunday and Monday off, but basically from 10 to 4, and we're hoping to expand our hours maybe in 2026, and we communicate all that. The best way to find out when we're open and what's going on is our social medias, of course. We try to post every single day. There's so much history. There's so many stories. We need to be posting every day to try to share all the excitement that we have. But yeah, 5 days a week, right there on Main Street. And if there's ever an event on Main Street, one of those festivals that we have, it seems like almost every month, we try to stay open as long as we can to enjoy the people passing by.
So you guys, you're going to be back there today, and you're going to be at the
Absolutely.
museum today. Well, this is going to put you on the spot, but what do you say we pack up here and head over to the museum, and I can get some shots at
Absolutely.
the museum? I think that
Absolutely.
would be a lot better than just audio and video in a studio.
That works great. Yesterday actually was National Museum Selfie Day, so this just kind of plays right onto that. We're gonna do that, and yeah, absolutely, you're welcome to come down. Everybody is.
Well, we had the pivot from the podcast, and now we're checking out the museum. So we're heading up right now. We're heading up to the second floor.
Correct.
Which is
That's the main museum itself. That's the permanent exhibits and the main history of Broken Arrow. So even when you just step right off the elevator, we already are throwing history at you. We try to use as much of the space as possible, not only the museum proper here, but we have historical display cases, carousels around the corner. We've got history about some of the paintings of Broken Arrow. And even last year, we got the scale from the grain elevator that's right behind us. We've got that on display with labels. So, I mean, we're trying to tell you as much history as possible of Broken Arrow as soon as you step into the building. Awesome. Absolutely. But this is our main museum that you come into. The first thing you see, obviously, I talked about before, was the Childers cabin, the actual cabin of the Childers family. That was built in South Broken Arrow, and so this was deconstructed and put together. All the logs and everything were numbered to make sure it was put back together, but this is that opportunity that museums love of you literally stepping into history. You can walk into the cabin, see some of the artifacts that were used back then. Multiple generations of Childers lived in this cabin.
wow.
And so some of these items are there, some of them are similar to that time period. Obviously, the fireplace is, you got to have warmth. As we're getting the cold weather here in Oklahoma right now, we know how important fireplaces are, especially back then.
Yeah, where's the fireplace? Oh,
Fireplace
right
right over
there.
there,
There
yeah.
we go.
Also, it was used
cool.
for cooking and keeping everybody warm. But yeah, one room cabin. Again, also owned by family that some of the grandkids eventually went on to be council members of the Muskogee Nation. So I mean, a lot of history in this one little cabin. That's one of our centerpieces. We've got a full timeline that we keep adding to. Actually, we ordered, that's going to be added to already. But starts back basically Indian Territory times, 1866, all the way up to current times. There's so much that actually happened.
The whole track.
The whole track. Obviously, we're right here next to the railroad. The original Katy Depot was right behind us, so where the farmers market normally is. And so we've got the timeline and the railroad just kind of merged together. It kind of made sense to do that. So again, visual representation of it.
So what is this photo up here?
So this actually that's our depot behind us. And so this
Wow.
was, trying to remember the date, but this is the city of Broken Arrow on Main Street in 1911. Which again, try to get everyone to stand still for a camera. And there's some blurry pictures. People moved. They weren't supposed to. Also why most photographs at that time period, there's nobody smiling, because it took so long to develop while the photographer. How long? I think that's in 1911. I think it was like a minute. So
Yeah.
it's easier just not to smile, because you could just relax your muscles and
I'll
look.
have to stand
Yeah,
there.
but there's a couple shaky faces. People were moving, especially the kids. I mean, they did pretty good. This is our tribal town. This is where we talked about our partnership with the Muskogee Nation. We talked about some of their culture, their customs, how they got to Indian Territory from their homelands. Wonderful partnership with a lot of the artisans, and we're really proud of this. Kids are always fascinated, especially, we have a lot of Route 66 travelers that come to Oklahoma, and they're always fascinated about the native cultures. And so when we get them, we have people from out of the country. That's really one of the main things that they want to learn about is the Muskogee Nation, the cultures here, how it develops, where it is today. And so we're really, really proud of this section. We have a couple citizens that are on our board, so we're proud to have them, and they help us with that partnership as we go along. And then you kind of walk down historic Main Street that we talked about. Morrow's Ben Franklin, Hunziker's, Keys Hardware, Arkansas Valley State Bank, Tucker's Barbershop. We have all these artifacts that we got from these old businesses that we love showcasing. I've got a graphics background, so I love seeing the old signs and the marketing materials and way businesses try to, communicate that what was going on. Again, they were all family run. These are just Broken Arrow families running businesses here on Main Street like they do today.
And so I love seeing all this.
So this is the famous horse.
This is Charlie the horse. And like I said, in front of the Keys Hardware, we have a picture of him, a little dark, unfortunately, but that's him in the shoe shop about 1920, 1930s. But yeah, that is our Main Street mascot, Charlie. Again, kids love him. When he was at AV Bank, actually, there were many stories that when he went to the bank, the kids would get on the horse. You could actually ride Charlie. We don't do that anymore, just for preservation purposes. But yeah, that's Charlie. Big fan of him.
That's fun.
We have a section about the school system. Obviously, we have a lot of alumni proud of Broken Arrow schools. So everything from the Haskell College, we do have a college street, which a lot of people, the newcomers to Broken Arrow, don't understand why we have a college street, but we had a college, Haskell College. Of course, we have other ones. We have REMA and NSU today. But yeah, talking about the school system, from a one-room schoolhouse to the amazing high school and public school system that we have today. And this is where we also do some of those partnerships. We're partnering with a senior at the Vanguard who's actually looking and going through this and updating it with even more stories from the school. So that's one of the great things about having those partnerships. So that'll be updated this year. We have one of the other kids' favorites is the jail. This is an actual jail that was built in the 1950s. There were 3 of these built for the police station at City Hall. And this one was donated to us back in '09. It was actually in a field, actually, when they built a proper jail. And since you're in there with the camera, the kids, the parents and the teachers' favorite part is you get to lock the kids in here.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so you're in jail officially. But yeah, we love having this. Kids love it, sitting on the benches and everything.
Yeah,
but
I think I locked my wife in there last time we were here.
yeah, it's a must. It's a must. Absolutely.
Dentist office.
Dentists in the hospitals. Obviously, we have a lot of the a lot of the people get kind of queasy when they see the dentist tools, especially those older ones. But
yeah, you probably weren't quite as numbed either.
probably not as numbed. Yeah, some of the bottles, we're not quite sure what's in there anymore, but that's a lot of fun. This one is actually just been updated last month. This is Rooster Days. Rooster Days is the longest running festival in Oklahoma. Started in 1932 officially. First one was in 1931. Still runs today, and one of the fun things they've done since 1995 is the egg hunt. And so currently done by the Broken Arrow Rotary Club, and they will hide one of these eggs in Broken Arrow, and then every couple days they'll give hints of where it is. And so, and if you find it, then you actually get a prize. I think it's $1,000 actually. The first year when they did it in '95, it was a huge list of things from local businesses that were donated to it. But today we've got this in chronological order. They're painted and done by local Broken Arrow artists. And we just got a brand new display case with the LED lights. And so we're really excited.
The newest one right up here.
Yep, that was the one from last year. And so when you find it, you give the egg back, and then it's brought here to the museum so we can show this history.
Those are so cool.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun, hand done. And then Roscoe Rooster, the official mascot of Rooster Days. This is the official, the first version. We have a newer version of Roscoe today. But we're excited to finally put him on display. And then the rodeo, Rooster Days Rodeo. We have Roger Love, who is a rodeo champ, who's actually here. He's on our board, and so was able to get us some artifacts to update the rodeo section, which is obviously a lot of fun. And so a lot of these traditions, like a lot of people come into Broken Arrow for Rooster Days that don't live here. It's just a lot of fun. And then I said the train depot is right behind us. So this is, some people would see pictures of the depot where it was painted red, but when it was originally built, it was actually painted green. And so these are some original slats back there. Those red ones are actually of it. But in this section, it's kind of hard to see, but we actually have, that's the original green color of the depot, and then the red that was painted over it. So we repainted it the original green. And so we have school groups that come through here, and we teach them about Broken Arrow history. And so we ask them questions to see if they're paying attention. And if there's somebody who is being really good, we reward them by saying, would you like to push the green button? We have an original ticket booth here, but there's this green button that's kind of nonchalant, and they get excited. Best part, we got the train. kids absolutely love it. So we have this display sharing some of the artifacts and the stories of Broken Arrow veterans from all the different wars, World War I, World War II, current ones. The most famous veteran of Broken Arrow is Ernest Childers, actually. Muskogee Nation citizen, Broken Arrow citizen. He got the Medal of Honor in World War II by saving some of his military. And so we're very proud to share his history and all the veterans that we have here.
Where is his?
So this is
this is him right
yeah,
here.
Ernest Childers here. He was given the Medal of Honor, and actually, when it was given to him at the time, he had no idea what was going on. Like, they were putting it on him, and he's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
They were rewarding him for his bravery in World War II and saving it, saving his fellow men, even though he was injured at the time. So he was part of the 45th Infantry that's based out of Oklahoma City, and they have a wonderful museum if you ever get over there also. So yeah, there's a lot of different histories, and there's so much to cover, so many stories we want to tell. And so that's why we update this. That's why we have the temporary shows downstairs on the museum, is because there's just so much. You know, hundreds of years, so many people, so many stories. We talked about some of the manufacturing we talked about earlier. We have the Broken Arrow coal mines. One of the biggest coal mines is now the Boy Scout park recreation area down there. But so much coal came out of here. That kind of ended around World War II. But I always loved the graphic. Again, my graphic background. It was Broken Arrow coal, but they spelled it ARO. So that way it was, I'm not sure if that was a marketing decision.
They ran out of space, maybe.
I don't know. But it came out everything. It was pretty smart. They put, the actual Broken Arrow on there, but it was just, I think, a marketing thing. But yeah, coal mines were here. Except we talked about the cotton. Corn was a huge industry in the fields that were here. We have some of the cotton materials that they used to go. I mean, they used to be picking this by hand and sorting it, and they would be bringing it to the grain elevators. Again, the railroad being so important to manufacturing in the industry here in Broken Arrow. And so we have the one grain elevator here, but we used to have like almost 10 up and down the railroad, and they would be bringing their cotton in. I mean, just the wagons were packed full of the cotton and filling up and trading it in and getting the supplies that they needed, and then shipping it off around the world to everybody who needed it. So we have Rooster Days, but we also used to have a Cotton Jubilee. So Broken Arrow had a celebration in the spring and one in the fall. But again, with cotton basically not being produced as much, the Cotton Jubilee, all those activities went to just Rooster Days. And so that's why we still have a good time with Rooster Days, though. But it really does tell the history of Broken Arrow. And so many of these festivals and everything were right here on Main Street. So many of the photographs we have are of the parades and the festivals and the different type of activities that were they just closed Main Street like we do today, and have a great time and just celebrate the community and the history that's here.
I saw you guys have a audio tour option as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You can come, and that's just free with your admission. We have in English and in Spanish.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's pop down. Maybe, is there anything else downstairs that you want to show?
Yeah, we can do the temporary gallery and show some of the historical photographs we have.
Sounds good.
So when you first walk in, we come into our gift shop. Even in the gift shop, again, we have about 15 different businesses and vendors that we have, all Broken Arrow based, and we sell their wares here. So this changes out with inventory about every month. We'll get specialized items for Rooster Days or Spooktacular or Christmas, and so this changes quite a bit. And we still share some of the original signs of the businesses here on Main Street up above. So we got the Ben Franklin's and Murray's Variety, and obviously we love having the signs and everything in here. But yeah, we support local businesses, and that's the way they support us also. And then right here is our temporary gallery. Again, this changes every single month. Currently, this is our then and now with some of our historical shows. These are some of our partners that helped us with the photographs. It was always great making a phone call and asking if people would help us pose or move things around. But yeah, some of the original Ice House is now Broken Arrow Brewery Company. Just seeing what was then and now, the Ford dealership, which is now AB Bank. And just some things haven't changed. The grain tower's still there.
Is that in use for anything, or it's just a historical
No,
location?
the city owns it now. They bought it, and so the bond issue that's coming up this year, one of the things is to renovate this whole area, make a larger farmers market, and actually take the grain elevator, make it a public art piece, and maybe even an interactive component for like a playground for the kids.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's great that the city purchased that and is going to keep it as a landmark. Yeah, First National Bank, they've been on the same corner since 1903, and they just expanded, but they've literally been there this entire time, and so that's kind of fun to see them evolve and support the community still. But this was a really great show. Obviously, a lot of museums have historical photographs, and sometimes people kind of get confused of where it was and what's there now and everything like that. And so this was just that great opportunity to kind of show people and kind of put it into context of like, what's great now is a lot of these photographs, obviously we took them last year for this show, and it's already changed. We already see the evolution. I think the biggest one is we took a picture of Main Street Tavern, and when we took it last year, there's no cupola, and now today the cupola's back. It's like that history. So even what we're doing today is history for tomorrow, and we got to keep that in mind. We got to record what we're doing today here in Broken Arrow, which you're doing. You guys are a part of that because that's history, and we get to share that here at the museum. So it's a lot of fun.
The rest of it, we're going to make them all come in to see. This is there's a great exhibit down here that you got to come check out too. So
yeah, we're very proud of it.
Well, thank you for showing me around
Absolutely.
and for giving me the grand tour and for the quick pivot, but
no, absolutely.
Excited to share this with people.
Like I said, the main thing we can do to support is have people just walk in the front door. Everybody's welcome, and we love having and sharing our history with people.